So while the big debate amongst Tesla investors is whether or not Tesla should advertise, now that Tesla is advertising, let's explore whether or not advertising can help at the moment of a buy decision, whether Tesla's tests and advertising are appropriately targeted, and a question many are asking, is advertising a blind spot for Elon? Well, we've got Larry Goldberg here with us, and he's going to help figure this out. It's a good kind of a deeper dive, a little bit more of a focused area of trying to understand what is advertising and will it work for Tesla. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Herbert.
Yeah, so Larry is a multi-entrepreneur. He's a Tesla investor, and he's regularly on this channel.
Yes, it's a broad subject, and I'm almost reluctant to comment on it because I'm sure I'll get a lot of responses, just to put it very mildly. Look, I was on the Gary Black side on advertising, and I think, it was on your show that I gave him a shout out for it because I had to agree with him that while we are immersed in the Tesla world, the average car buyer is not. The average car buyer reads what he reads in the newspapers, in the social media. We know that a lot of the conventional, press are not very amenable to Tesla. They tend to magnify the negative, and there's been a lot of it. So there's that. And then the other issue is just ignorance. We think that, we hear a lot about Tesla on a daily basis. But in the average household, this is not true. The average household don't pay attention to the stock market. The average household doesn't pay attention to the car market and the details of EV adoption. The average car buyer comes from the average household. And so what the average car buyer thinks about is the halo image of the Tesla that has been generated over the years as being this very high-end luxury car for the person who has a great deal of money, and that it has, it's an EV, therefore it has a range problem, so that you always have to have a second car. Now, maybe not every household thinks about this, but enough households do that when you start trying to mass market a vehicle and not sell it to the fortunate few at the top of the pyramid, then you have to inform them. You have to get the word out. And it's very difficult to get the word out because the sound to noise ratio is the noise to sound ratio, I should say, is very, very high. There's a huge amount of noise. There's not a lot of sound because of this problem with media that we have today, and because Tesla doesn't advertise. Tesla doesn't inform. And, I always talk about the Apple experience, which has been completely the opposite. Apple, from day one, was, really focused on getting their message out when they introduced the Mac, when they introduced the iPhone. They have really focused on getting the message out and establishing the brand and the value add of that, the value proposition of that brand. So to me, when you look at the specifics of the Tesla problem, the issues, the Tesla problem statement and the Tesla value statement, you see people's concerns about range, concerns about safety, concerns about all the factors around Tesla. Those are the very important pieces of information that people need to understand it. And finally, above all, price. We know Teslas are highly affordable today, but does the public know that?
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com. Yeah, okay. I think we all understand and we all agree that Tesla needs to advertise. You're going to go and share with me a little bit more specifics, right? Like how can they do appropriately targeting the advertising? How can they actually influence the buy decision? and then what you're thinking about how Elon thinks about this. But we're not going to debate advertising today. This has been well-worn subject. My point has simply been, it's the people like Gary who was saying that we should have advertised in lieu of price drops in January. If he had his way, we would still be selling $66,000 Teslas at this point, and he goes advertise like crazy now. That's ridiculous. We are nowhere, even just now, we're barely at price parity. Once you're here, we should go advertise like crazy. Elon said he is. We're going to do this already. So let's talk about what exactly you would suggest that the advertising could be much more appropriately targeted. What was your thoughts there?
Well, let's look at the problem statement. I mean, the problem statement is that people still think that even though we've reduced the price of the car and brought it back down to, the levels that are highly affordable. And by the way, the level that they're at is just where they were 3 years ago.
Exactly.
So the whole business about the debate over the price reduction seemed to be quite silly. All we're doing is getting back to where we were in terms of where the supply chain was 3 years ago. But the problem is that if you look at the Tesla vehicle today, it is, on a price parity with its competitor. 3 years ago, that wasn't so. 3 years ago, the relative Toyota or Honda was significantly less expensive as a front-end investment, but we argued that the maintenance costs and the ownership costs would be lower over time. Those days are past. We now have price parity, and we're much lower cost in operations, and we have that experience. And when you look at Tesla's advertising, when you can find it, because it's very sparse right now, because they're test marketing it, it's all about the image of the car and the beauty of the car and, the ride of the car, but it's not about the numbers. And I think it's all about the numbers. And then the other number that's so important is range anxiety. That's the other thing that should be advertised. We shouldn't just, wave our hands and say, it's very easy. We should give actual examples of people's experience in life with the car and everyday experience. I mean, owners in interviews telling them how they use the car on a daily basis. So we're still in this, it seems that we're still in this mindset of the beautiful car and driving along these roads and wonderful experience. But we're not talking about the real value add that people experience on a day-to-day basis. The value of the car's operating system, the value of the app, the low cost of operations. I mean, I had 3 Teslas in 5 years, and I spent $84 in maintenance. Why don't we tell people this? So the advertising that we're doing right now is all about brand image. The advertising that we should be doing is, look, we have a better product at a lower cost. Here's the product, here's the cost. This is the comparison.
Okay. Right? I mean, there's no one going to argue with that. Education is critical. Elon already tweeted a year ago that he doesn't agree with advertising, but he agrees with educational advertising. So now he's going to pump it up. It's coming. Now, you still believe that advertising is a blind spot for Elon? You want to comment on that?
Yeah, Herbert, you say that it's coming. You say that he's doing it, but where is it?
Well, so first of all, we know that they're doing advertising in China, significant advertising in China. We heard recently that they did advertising in an airport in Japan, the walls. They're doing Google searches. And I think that he's hinted, and he tweeted out very recently that they're doing testing and they're going to start increasing it significantly at scale. So it's coming. I think that the focus has been on lowering the price. It's like you can go ahead and advertise like crazy right now, and it's going to be a small little bumps because the big bump is price. And the interest rates, he's been complaining, so high that really the challenge is bring the cost down. Once it's there, you can go ahead and start advertising for the rest of the kind of gains. Nobody's going to argue with you. Educational advertising should have been done from day one. But it's also kind of like at the end of the day, how big of an impact would have it had if you were doing educational advertising when the price was $66,000? It's just okay.
I hear what you say, and it's kind of what Elon has been saying, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see the test material that speaks to, the actual comparison of a Tesla from a range point of view, from a cost point of view, from a drivability point of view, from all of the aspects of how the value add is great, how the value of the car is greater and the cost is less than its comparison. I haven't seen, yes, there's the wall of advertising at Narita Airport. That's the same thing as this image stuff. Yes, there is online, there is Google search, and the Google search has been pretty good. But you only search on Google for something that you want to buy.
Agreed.
And so I haven't seen yet what Elon has told us he's doing, and that's testing, because the testing that's been done to date is the testing on this old style of advertising, which is, to me, image advertising. Now, look, I'm not I know not a lot about advertising. I'll stipulate that up front. But I'm a buyer, and I've had a lot of experience in selling. And I don't see us selling Tesla right now.
No, agreed. So I'm not an expert in this space at all, but I will say that the car companies are one of the largest advertisers of any industry. Nicholas Coles points out, an auto expert said that there's this 5 to 7 day window of somebody deciding to make a decision. You want to be there. That's why you see a lot of TV ads. What I understanding about advertising is you want to do everything. There's no, this one works, but this doesn't. Everything needs to happen. Social media, TV ads, print. You want to basically choose everything. Now, I think the way I see it is Elon's thinking that he knows, the old adage, 50% of advertising works and 50% doesn't. You just don't know which one. And I don't think he cares so much about that. What he's really doing is looking at it from first principles, if I had to guess what he was doing. And I think that word of mouth marketing is a massive advertising marketing method. I was actually part of the WAMA, Word of Mouth Marketing Association, a founding member of that. And it's like, how do you get people who love your product to spread the word? And that is even more powerful than necessarily watching on TV. You should do it all. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it all. I'm just saying that there might be something even more powerful. And getting butts in seats, people seeing the car for the first time, can completely obliterate, as opposed to just watching something on TV. It's a drug ad, then all of a sudden there's a car ad, then, okay, it's seeping into my mind, but it's only when you're physically in there and then you go, oh my God, my friend just showed me this, and you're going to buy it that moment. But anyways, they're going to do it. Yeah.
Let me interrupt you 1 second and say, couldn't agree with you more. Saturation advertising through TV and through the normal channels doesn't work. But the advertising we're doing right now on the web and
it's not enough.
And in social media it's not only not enough, it's misdirected.
Agreed.
It's still all about the image. But when you hear the Tesla word of mouth that leads to a sale, what does it always say? There's this questioning about range. There's this questioning about cost. Oh, but Tesla's much too much. Oh, it's only that. Wow. Oh, and I can't drive to, green. I can't get to this city or that. What are you talking about? I did. Oh, wow. That's the conversation that always takes place. Always. That leads to the sale.
Okay, I'll counter.
It is so
Let me counter. The counter is this, okay? People know that the Steve Jobs, okay, master marketer in the world, he'll tell you that you don't tell people what the how and what is. You tell them the why first. You need to move them emotionally. And that's why you'll see this gorgeous car. You're not trying to sell EVs. You're trying to sell an amazing car, the best car in the world. And then the fact that it's an electric vehicle and the fact that there's no range anxiety, that's secondary. First is make it to become something that you desire to have. Then you go and answer the questions. Oh, it's an electric vehicle, therefore range, and what's the price? Price is critical. And so if you can hit the two, which is something that's like so desirable, but then lower price that's affordable, which Elon has been pointing out, then you're going to get everybody wanting to buy that. But if you just went and said, here's a car, it goes this far and it's low cost, and you will sell it, but the desirability is lost. You need to always start with the sexiness.
We've created the desirability.
True.
That's done. He's done a brilliant job of that, and the car sells itself in that respect. What we haven't done is the second part of it. And that's what's missing. And if somebody's going to make a decision over 5 days to go and buy a car, those two issues, cost and range anxiety alone, are stopping 50% of the people who would. I'm guessing a number. Okay.
No, I agree.
Shoot me for that. I'm guessing that number. But I think in my brain, it's 50%. We would double the sale of Teslas, literally double the sale of Teslas, as crazy as that sounds, if we just told that story.
Thank you so much, Larry. That was a fun one. Appreciate it. The conversation with advertising is not going to end. There's going to continue. But now we're getting to the beginnings of the kind of being more precise about what we should do. Appreciate it, Larry. Follow him on X at Tesla Larry. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.